Hello and welcome again to the Galactic Family Podcast. This is a special live edition. We weren't actually planning on going live today, but man, Walter's got my mind going right now with the Dogon. So today we're joined by Walter van. Oh, I'm going to say it wrong.
No,
Beek,
Beek. Walter van
like
Beek.
in cake. Yeah.
Yep, Walter van Beek. A highly respected scholar in religious anthropology whose work has helped shape modern understanding of African cosmologies, symbolism, and lived spiritual traditions. Walter has spent decades conducting long term field work across West Africa, engaging directly with communities, languages, rituals, and everyday life, bringing an insider's depth and an academic's rigor to his research. He is affiliated with the Tilburg University in the Netherlands and serves as the senior researcher at the African Studies Center, where his work continues to influence both anthropology and religious studies. This conversation isn't about taking away the wonder, it's about understanding that wonder correctly and on its own cultural terms. So let's bring him up on the stage here. Not me. Let me get me around.
No, that's me.
There we go. To the center stage, we've got Walter.
Hello.
welcome,
Good
Professor.
evening, good morning, whatever.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
I just want to know from the beginning, like how did you first get into this? How did you get into the what inspired you to go to the Dogon to learn about them?
To study and
Well, the point is, I was raised, I was an anthropologist. I was trained as an anthropologist at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. And when I graduated, I had to choose what you call a tribe for an anthropologist, a group where to study. And I worked with a group of physical anthropologists, also at Utrecht University, who were doing studies in Cameroon, in North Cameroon. And there I went with them, at least, and I chose my object for my PhD study, which was the Kapsiki tribe in the north of Cameroon. And that is a group I studied from 72. And I did my field work there for 1.5 years, continuous in the field with my family. And after returning to Utrecht, I wrote my dissertation and graduated as a PhD in 78. From that time onwards, I was looking for a second field because I wanted to do at least two fields in order to have comparative options. And the same group had moved to Mali, to the fourth region of Mali, in the region of Mopti, and was doing research on the adaptation of groups, physical adaptation to dry conditions, to the dry Sahelian conditions. And I say, okay, and I can join in as an anthropologist. I worked with the Kapsiki on these kind of conditions. So I choose a group just in that area. And one of the groups that live there are the Dogon. And the Dogon have a special, say, reputation, a special ring in anthropological circles. And that's exactly what this whole podcast is about and what my contribution is about. So I went with them. I did a research reconnaissance. I just went to the field in order to choose the group, and I chose the Dogon, and I chose my village in the Dogon. There were two reasons actually to choose the Dogon. First was that they fitted into the schedule, to the whole format of people living in arid conditions in Africa. And the second one was that this was a special group, at least a group with a special reputation, and that's the point. So I had two things in mind. I had to do their, say, cultural ecology, the way they gear their social life and their religion to their specific Sahelian dry environment. The way what they call they dwell in their environment, they dwell with their groups, they dwell with their religion, with their form of animism, because it's one of the many animist groups in Africa. It also is a group where their own religion is very much alive, very much present. It's not a thing of the past. And when it came out first in '78, it still is not it's a thing of the past. It was still very much alive, and it still is in effect. So that's I liked about them. Plus the fact that their scenery is absolutely beautiful. Their villages are breathtaking, and maybe picture one may show that. Um, and there you have the village of Eerily, close to my village. They live against a cliffside. On top, to the left, you have a plateau, and to the right, you have a dune area. But the villages are, yeah, just fixed on the cliffsides. Quite spectacular. People just live there. This is what you see is a house of a normal people. They have say they bury their dead in the holes in the caverns up in the cliff, and on the hand upper left hand side you see some little buildings there where the three cone-shaped figures, those are burial places for the dead. So this is a people very much living into their environment. That's part of them, part of their culture, and they are part of the environment, changing the environment, exactly like what you want as an ecologist. Yes, George?
Yeah. How long has this tradition of building into cliff faces been going on within the Dogon peoples? Is this
at least 400 years?
Mm.
There have been here at least 400-500 years already. They have a tradition that they came from another
it's very organic
area
very
in
organic.
Mali, in Mande, but they have been here, and there have been people before them here, the Telem. So this is an area which has been inhabited for at least, we think, 2,000 years. One of the advantages of such a habitat is that it's relatively safe. You can defend yourself against raiders, against slave raiders. And that's one reason that they live on such an inaccessible place. For us, it's quite photogenic. For them, it is simply safe.
It's
so
just on first look, it's fairly well camouflaged as well. Using organic materials from the environment, it seems quite harmonious.
It blends in. It blends in, and they're used to live in that environment. They used to climb the mountains, and in the picture 2, you see my own village, Tiroli, with the houses and the cliff on the background, with the caves where they bury their dead, and where the Telem also, the earlier civilization, has buried its dead. And you see a group of women coming down from the market on top of the cliff. Now, this is, of course, is an extremely captivating sight. And you see, these are people who really belong to the cliffs. They live in them, they live with them, and they live against them. And the cliffs are important also in their religion. So that's, and that's, of course, quite captivating for me.
You mentioned. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I may, you mentioned this. The Dogon peoples are animists, or they. I'm like for me and maybe the viewers. What does that to an anthropologist or religious studies? What does this mean?
It's a term we don't use too often anymore. It belongs a little bit to an old theory, but anyway, it means that, first of all, it's a local religion. It's a religion which is ingrained, embedded in this environment. It means that they believe in spirits, they believe in gods, they believe in different spirits, different gods. They believe not everything is unspirited. But the point is that they have rituals for birth, for initiation, rituals for death, and we will see some spectacular visions of that. But for the most part is, for instance, when these women come down the scree, come down the mountainside, with, of course, their baskets on their head, just before entering the village territory, there is a place where the rocks are white. And that's the place where when they have come or leave, especially if they have some beer with them, which is often the case because that's what the women brew and what they sell, they pledge a little beer on that side because that is called the oju di, the water of the road, water of the road, just to have a safe travel. It is not an easy terrain to walk, and it's certainly not an easy terrain to walk with something on your head, as you can imagine. And some of the children, yeah.
That's almost like soldiers do. I know I do it sometimes, on Veterans Day, or I'll have a glass. It's full, but it's never drinking.
I think so, yeah. And usually, imagine these are they have bought their stuff in Sangha and they send with them, but also they often go with canneries with pots of beer on their head, and that's about 20 kilo. And then they mount the falaise, they mount the cliffside. This is top sport.
So,
and it is quite impressive.
So with these, with ritual, the rituals of pouring beer on the ground for safe passage, and within your tribe that you studied or you lived with, within the Dogon peoples, so I'm imagining how many tribes of Dogon are there? Are there many villages, many different groups who are linked but unique?
We consider the Dogon as one cultural group, say one tribe. There are some sub-tribes which they divide themselves according to descent from some ancestors. And the whole group consists of about 3,000 people divided in a host of villages. And there is a string of villages which live just on the scree of the cliff, like this one. This is Tiroli, is my own village. I'm here, I'm at home. If I see this picture, I know the women, I know who is whom, so.
How long did you spend with the Tiroli Dogon peoples?
The first time I spent a whole year.
1 year. Okay.
I stayed in the village for an entire year because that's and I had to learn the language. Dogoso. It's not easy, but you have to learn it in order to communicate. And that's, of course, a large investment in time. And you have to become part of the family. You have to become not one of them. That's not, but at least to fit in. And these are villages which consist of what they call clans, large families. And each large family, each clan houses a number of families. So when I arrived there, then we had someone who hosted me. Because in my first visit the year before, I came out in 70. I came in, visited them in 78. I made contacts and came back in 79. And then my host was already there, and he and I became member of his family. He became my older brother.
That's
And
beautiful.
so because you have to be part of the family.
Yeah, our clans, our families, and clans, how they are they the Dogon people differentiated by the colors of the ceremonial costume, or is it?
No, not so much. The Dogon of one village and one clan look very much like the other. The point is that everybody knows. This is a village of about 3,000 people. Everybody knows everyone. And they know not only their name, but they know who their father and mother is. So they know the clan, where they come from, etc. An African village is a glass village. Everybody, especially in the Dogon, knows everything about everyone.
So in your earliest work down there, what surprised you the most in your earliest work? You know, when you were just starting out down there, what really surprised you the most about living with them?
Exactly what you see here, the agility in which they managed the whole the steep cliff sides, etc. The way they climb up with a pot, the women with a baby on their back and a pot of beer on their head, and just whistling climb upwards, overtaking me when I was with great effort trying to get up and to climb up. So it was a little bit humiliating, actually. But that's the thing. You have to do that from your early age on. Otherwise, you will never catch up with them.
Wow.
So that was, yeah. And I was very scary to descend the cliffside in dark, because there's not a stair or stairway. You have to jump from stone to stone. They had no problem with that. It's like their feet could see. So that's yeah. It's a very rugged area, and but it's a captivating area. That surprised me more than anything else. The way they managed their environment, and that's exactly, of course, what I came for to study.
It's like they
So that's
build they build off their environment. It's beautiful. They don't destroy it, they build off of it.
they add to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
They add to it. It's
the
also a cultural landscape. It's beautiful. And that, of course, was my first love of the whole country. It's visually captivating. It's absolutely fascinating.
So what
And I'm
picture are
not
we
the
looking
only
at
one.
here, sir?
What?
What picture are we looking at here, sir?
This is not in my own village, but in a village up north. An old remains of the Telem, the first group who settled there, which are now used as burial sites. So inside those cones are bones of the dead.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um,
Sacred spot.
This is a sacred spot that I could take a picture, but that was all. And I had to take off my shoes, because those were the places of the ancestors, the recent ancestors that you have known, your grandfather, the grandfather, etc. And people have often names. Their names, they don't have family names. They are called a name for their birth, and then with the names of their father. And the first thing I learned of my host, Dogolu, was his full name, and it was a Dogolu Tigemu Yanoju Apenyo Abunyo Sai, which is his father, grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. And then the Sai is the name of the whole village.
Oh wow.
So this is this is a group which per village, they all have the same family name. And you have to distinguish yourself by your father and your grandfather, etc. It's a it's a wonderful adaptation to their environment, in which the ancestors are important, but it's not only the ancestors. And
yeah, if you could talk to us a little bit about the I guess the spiritual spiritual perception of these Dogon peoples as animists. What, you know, is there a village shaman? Is there a village? Is it everyone takes part in the you know? If you could talk a little bit about that, that'd be awesome.
Let's put on the photo 3.
Yep, that's this one right here.
No, this is
The
photo.
one with the
Oh yeah,
mask.
this is photo. Yeah, no, we have photo 3. It is there. Yeah, the point is that they have been there long, and there are just below. You can see it here. So there, below there are some old houses which are the clan houses, and the point is that the village has been settled, I think, some 4 centuries ago, and the ones who installed themselves first, say the clan ancestors, built a house close to the mountainside, and their house still is what they call the big house of the clan. And each clan has its own big house. And the big house has its own altar. And in Dogon, you have, apart from the ancestors, who are part of the things you venerated, you have some gods. You have a sky god, Amma, and you have earth god, Leve, and you have a water god, Nomo. And that triangle is about what is the divine triangle of the Dogon: heaven, earth, and water. And each of those clan houses has its own altar to worship at least also the sky god, but often also the other two. So the clan altar is the family and the great family altar. Each of the families has his own altar, his own little cone. It's cone shaped, a little bit like these houses, but smaller. They're cones, earthen cones, on which they sacrifice their chickens, their gruel, and their goats, etc., in order to be one with Amma and with Leve, and with the earth, the water god Nomo.
Oh.
That's the main thing, and most of the rituals aim at that triangle. Other than that, they believe in a lot of spirits which are around them, which are close. Not just the ancestor who are there too, but also spirits of the house, spirits of the bush, spirits of the trees, etc. They all have their own names: Yenel, Yaban, Atumanu, and Jinu, 4 types of spirits, which is not so much a question of adoration or whatever, but you have to be careful. You have to be respectful for them. That's the surrounding you live in, and the central notion of this religion is Bawa, which is respect. You have to respect the environment. You have to respect the spirits. You have to have great respect for the gods, and then they will leave you in peace and have you healthy in that particular part. That's why I call it a local religion more than anything else. And that's so that's
Yeah, a question with the clan and household altars. Is this a daily? Is there daily rituals? Is this something that is frequented or used a great, on very regular, or are there more events linked to precession of stars or solar?
not stars, but the year. They are linked to the year. No, it's not on a daily basis, but there you sacrifice your altar. I have my own altar I have my own family there, so I have my own altar, and it has to be sacrificed once a year. Then that's the harvest time, or just before the harvest. Everybody sacrifices on his altar, and first the oldest clan, and then you wait for him, and then my family does it, and finally I do it, following in there. And that's done at least once a year, but if there are other occasions, you do it more often. But it's always an occasion. It's always a gathering, because you call in the whole family. You call in your wife, your children, etc. We wait for that. Go back to the other one. So you wait for your family to be there, and you wait. You go there, and so. But there's also some very small offerings. When a new beer pot is getting used, when you have this is a beer brewing country. They make their own beer from millet. A very nice beer, by the way. I liked it. We had wonderful brewers. There were the women brewers in our village, and I was I liked it anyway. But if you have the first calabash of beer from the new pot, you just put a few drops on the floor and say, yours, spirits. It's for you, for the Yabon, for the Yanel, etc. So they can drink with you. You eat and drink with the other world. You eat and drink with the spirit world. You eat and drink with Amma and with Lewe, and to some extent with the Nomo. So it's their family, a little bit exalted family, and sometimes a very nice family, sometimes like our family, a little bit obnoxious. Well, we all know our families, demanding, and they demand attention, but it's a closed unit which belongs to us, to which you belong. So that's the essence of it, is belonging there. Now, one of the things is that one of the great rituals, and then we go to number 6. Number 6. Yeah. There is the main obsession of the Dogon, the main focus is death. People die eventually, yes. And then you have to take a farewell to a family member, a beloved family member. And they do that in a spectacular way. And I will not tell it all about it, because that will take, I think, till tomorrow morning. But one of the things they do, they bury in the cliffs, and then they have a festival, and after 12 years, they have a second burial. And that is quite standard in animist religions, because with the first burial, the funeral, you take farewell to the one who died, and with and then you have wait, say a decade, and then you have a second festival in which the death will be transferred to ancestors. It's a double transition, first from living to deceased, to death, to corpse, and then from corpse to ancestor. The corpse will remain, the bodies will remain in the caves. They don't like that. But then they put on a magnificent show of masks. And here you see, well, 2 very spectacular masks against that wonderful backdrop of Tiroli. Those are masks representing trees. They dance with them, and they will move them to and fro, and they will swing them, etc. This takes practice, and this is and they do that in a large festival of showing. And what is here? What is, say, revered here? What is present here is the bush. Like I said, they live very much in their environment, and they know that the bush is not their enemy. The bush is not the stuff they live from. The village has to cultivate the bush, and has to all food is coming from the bush. All food is coming from not from the village itself, but the village feeds upon the bush. And so the bush is seen as and now this is part of their cosmology, but it's a very local cosmology, not stars and things like that, but the bush. Opposition village bush is central. And here you see the bush coming into the village because of all the death have depleted the village. And that village is, all the knowledge of the old man, when they die, that knowledge is gone. A famous African expression relates that when an old African dies, a library burns down.
Oh,
wow. Wisdom goes. It's a wonderful expression.
So what separates careful scholarship from just storytelling then? Because you were down there, you witnessed it for yourself. You know, they tell stories, but there's also out of those stories you get, you know, tangible things you can hold in your hands.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You have to live there. You have to ask questions, and you have to cultivate with them. You have to fetch water with them, and you have to make masks. I have been making masks. This was in 2008. This picture, not that long ago, at least not for me. And some of the masks, not these ones, I helped to fabricate. Because that's the way. That's called participation, participant observation. And then they tell you the story, and then you get to the real background and the real story behind it. So that is what the masks do. And the next one, 7.
Oh wow!
You see another mask. It's the beauty.
Yeah.
And you see that what he depicted is not a god. It's not a spirit in itself. It is the other, someone from the bush. This is a mask depicting a neighboring group which has been raiding them in the past. So the people coming from the bush and who were dangerous.
Okay.
So in their mask, they reflect on their dependency from the bush. And the bush is wise, is powerful, but also really powerful, so can also be threatening. It's more power, and all life comes from the bush. All wisdom comes from the bush. All fertility, human fertility, comes from the bush. We are not self-sufficient in the things which really count. We need our environment, our total environment. And some of it is rather threatening, like this Samo warrior here in Tiroli in 2008. And of course, and so it's a meta commentary on their environment, but their larger environment. Bush, politics, history also comes in. On the whole, you see in masks not that's all over Africa the same. Masks do not depict deities, do not depict gods or things like that, or even ancestors. They're a thing of the ancestors, but they depict what is relevant in life here and now, and imbue it with meaning, with spirit, with power, like they call it. This is what gives the village its power back. And it's like charging your battery. Your spiritual battery has to be charged from the other world, and the other world in first instance is the bush. Of course, you have also an other world vertical, like gods of earth and water and the sky, but both are relevant and both are part of the real cosmology of the Dogon. So I think now it's a time to go to what is let's go further then. 8 is a nice one, I think.
Yeah.
Here you see from that mask festival to honor the dead and to transform the dead into ancestors is also a festival, an initiation of the boys. Boys have to dance with the masks, and the first time they dance is their initiation. And so they have to wait for what they call a dama, a mask festival, a mask ritual, in order to be initiated. And dancing is important in Africa. And here is a group of elders who are the elders of their respective clans in the village. Is our neighboring village, but that's the same. Who are discussing simply who won the dancing contest. The boys have done their best to dance and shine as dancers, and here they discuss who was the best dancer among them, and they will, well, of course, honor the winner, and some of the winners take great pride in that and put the figure of their if they're one, they're first they put a one on their mask, so etc. In principle, of course, a mask should be unrecognizable, but not too much because they like to shine. They like to stand out. And this is yeah.
Yeah. So just quick question, like how did your views about the cosmology though change after living with the Dogon?
Yeah, let's go to number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
The Dogon have been the topic of anthropological research for a very long time, since 1935 actually, and they have been more or less discovered in a great expedition the French held, the Dakar-Djibouti expedition, which started out in Dakar in 1931, almost a century ago now, and ended in Djibouti in 33. It's a little bit the wrong way of crossing the Sahara. They took 2 years, and they discovered it was very much a colonial enterprise at the time, because France just had claimed that area as its colony, and they wanted to know who was there. They didn't know anything about it. So the anthropology, Marcel Griol was there, and he went with a group of researchers, a quite spectacular expedition. And there recently was an exposition in the Musée Branly in Paris on that expedition. It really shaped anthropology in France. With him, he came back to the Dogon because he was captivated by the region, and you can now imagine why. So he came back
there too. I probably wouldn't have left.
I guess no. No, it's a really wonderful area, and it breaks my heart that I can't go back now. Anyway, in 35, the lady here first on the picture is Germaine Dieterlin. She came with him, and she stayed coming with him for all of her life. And then they worked with some of the Dogon informants, and you see their informants, their assistants at the back, 3 of them, which are, I took the photo in, I think in 79, at her house. I know her, of course, and the man on the picture, the white man, is Jean Rouch, a famous cinematographer, a filmer of the African scene, and they were good friends, and we are good. We are good acquaintances anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the point is, the story is at least quite clear. Griol came with her and with some other anthropologists like Denise Paul, Malif Sitch, Leris, a whole French crew. And they stayed for a long time, at least some time there. And they wrote books on the Dogon, which are very good for the time, at least. It was very early in anthropology. And one has to say they did a good job. Griol wrote a book of Dogon masks, and you can easily see why, viewing the pictures. Dieterlin wrote a book on Dogon spirits, and also the history Denis Bohm wrote a book on Dogon social organization.
Mm.
So far, so good, no problem. And
Yeah.
those books are still valuable for me because they have a good description of the situation there and then. At that time, it's about, well, half a century ago over, but anyway, recognizable. Then World War II came, and so they couldn't come. And after World War II, Dieter Laan, so the lady in the picture, and Marcel Griot came back, and they studied more. And then something strange happened, something anthropologically weird. Anyway, what happened was in 1948, Marcel Griot published the book Dieu d'eau, the god of the water, and I told you about him. And there he argued at least, that he had learned from one blind hunter, an old blind hunter, the deep secrets of the Dogon. And the deep secrets were that there was a creation myth. Mag ik even wat te drinken hebben, Tini?
Ja.
A creation myth which guided, which directed all Dogon life, their architecture, their rituals, their daily life, even the shape of their fields and the shape of their baskets. That made actually a great impression, because that was some kind of information we never had about Africa, and was completely new. Whatever we knew of Africa was different from that. So, like the English say, it raised an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Also on the Isle of Wight. But then, okay, we could live more or less with that. But then came out in 1950 an article on un système soudanais de Sirius. And now we're into astronomy. And they described how they found another informant who knew everything, the secret knowledge of the Dogon about astronomy. And they had learned from him that the Dogon knew that Sirius was a double star with a small companion circling about every half century. That went a little bit unobserved because it was in a journal a few people out of Paris, beyond Paris, read, but they republished an English version in African Worlds, published at Oxford University Press a few years later, and then it was common knowledge, and people were very astonished of that. And of course, Sirius is a double star. Yeah.
Yeah, just to clarify that point. So the gentleman, the first anthropologically strange publication which raised an eyebrow from an informant is one article, and then the same individual created a second article. I'm just getting this clear in my mind. The second article claims another informant with the secrets of the Dogon gave information about.
Let's put it straight. There are two. Well, the first in the 48 book is on Ogutumeli, so-called Conversation avec Ogutumeli, the blind hunter. And that was, of course, when it was published, he was dead. But they kept looking for people who knew secrets, and they found other people, and other informants, who informed them about Sirius, which Ogutumeli had never mentioned. And he came with another creation story, a story in which that gradually developed, and a creation story in which stars and Sirius played a larger role. And that started out with an article in 50, an article a few years later, and then eventually came out in a book in 65, Le Renard Pâle, the Pale Fox. And there you have a completely different creation story in which Amma is a sky god who is starting out with a kind of X-shaped structure which explodes. It's very much like a Big Bang theory, actually, and in which the Sirius, of course, is the double star, because that is the star which directs the Earth, etc. And it's the convolution time of the Sirius B guides the whole calendar on Earth. Now, that was even stranger, and that part has been taken up by that notion has been taken up by people who liked to think that the Dogon had a deep astronomical knowledge. Where could they have learned it? Because Sirius B is, of course, a reality. Sirius is a double star system. We know that for a long time already. In the last, actually in the 1800s, Sirius B has been first photographed in the 1900s and measured, etc. Well, in the beginning of the last century. That is deep astronomical information, and some details were surprisingly correct. The informant told Grill that the density of Sirius B was very, very high, and it's a white dwarf which has high density. So the details were correct. That was information which was astronomically correct, but normally inaccessible for people without telescopes, etc. So the question arose, what is the origin of that information? Dieterlen, I have known her very well, and I have great respect for me, and we're parted on good friends. She died in 98. She was 97 at the time, and she went still to the Dogon area when she was 91. So heads off for her. Deep respect. But of course, for people who believe in ancient astronauts, this was a story that was waiting to be taken up. Gefundenes fressen, like the Germans said. It was what they liked to hear. But of course, for them, it was clear that it could only come from ancient visitors from space. And that is where the problem. Of course, if the Dogon had that kind of knowledge, and it couldn't have come from other people, then it is a reasonable supposition. Let's say that. It's a strong case, because if they have this kind of correct, deep astronomical information, it should come from somewhere, and then an ancient astronaut theory is one of the options. You have to clear that. Yeah.
When in anthropology, when you cite a source as an informant or information coming forwards, for veracity to verify that information, would you have to have many informants with the same knowledge base interviewed separately?
Yeah, that's exactly the case, and that's exactly one of the mistakes Grill made in his method, and that's what we do now as a quite normal method. But he relied, in fact, on one informant. He called them the informateur principal, the main informant, and he paid him, which we don't like to do. And he paid him as long as he came up with new material.
Some information, right?
And that's an elementary mistake. Also, journalists know very well that they should not pay their informants, because then you get everything you like to have. And the Dogon are very polite people. They like to give you what you like to get, and especially if they're paid, financial realism kicks in.
Yeah.
So, but that, of course, and so this book was a problem for the anthropology, not for the ancient astronauts, because they had a field day. But anyway, the anthropologists said, This is very, very strange for three reasons. First, there are two creation myths which are completely different. One from Ogutameli of the first book and one of the second book. And they don't speak to each other. They don't mention each other. It is completely different. Well, that's highly that's highly unlikely. Second, we have no other African society which is completely directed by its creation myth. That is highly unusual. And third, of course, in this case, by now it is 1965, we knew by that time a lot about all the tribes in Africa. And no tribe even closely resembled this kind of information. This was different. Dogon had become an anomaly. And of course, anomaly are the hearts of scientific progress, if you've learned them. So when I came out, and there were, well, critical studies, etc., of how Griot got it. And Griot, of course, was doing research in a situation where he represented the colonial government.
Right. So he had to provide evidence that he's been supported and working there to his government. So he has to create
you see the problem immediately. That is asking for trouble because people will tell you anything.
I don't know. It feels like
he didn't realize how his power position actually, but he had a position of power. And anyway, so I when I chose the Dogon in 78, that there were a lot of criticism in anthropology on this part of the Dogon religious description, and but nobody had gone into the field yet. A restudy is not a thing you do in just in a few months or so. It takes major investment in time, etc. Plus the fact that Ditola still had a position of power in France, and she kept other anthropologists a little bit away from the Dogon area.
Okay.
Anthropologists are a little bit like that, actually, all of us. We think if we do the study, it's enough. Nobody has to. It's our tribe. That's a little bit our weakness. It's our tribe, so stay out. Well, anyway, I was not from France, so I could move in. So when I chose the Dogon, it was also with it in mind that I was going there and doing that restudy, which was, I think, overdue.
You went to fact check.
Exactly. So that's why I went in, and so in 1979 I went in with my family. We had a wonderful time. First in Sangha. I had a wife and 4 children, and they loved being in Africa. And but they were in school, so they stayed half a year, and then they moved back, and I stayed another half year in Tiroli, in my ultimate research village. And I did the study, and I found, well, the first thing I found is that I couldn't find the creation myth. Of course, restudy is simply a study, but so I did my study, and I realized that I could not find a creation myth. I could find mythical tales on where they came from, on how the rituals had come, where the mask had come from, where the other great ritual, the Sigi, had come from. Those tales were there, and they were already known most of the time. I found a myth about the struggle between heaven and earth, which explains the rainfall. Very much an embedded kind of myth within their local cosmology. But I could not find a myth which said, in the beginning, Amma created heaven and earth, something like that. It was not there. Well, of course, it could be that I hadn't looked large enough, but I know I was longer in the field than Marcel Griot and Dieter stayed, because they stayed only for the winter time. I spoke the language better, and I had full confidence of my people. I knew that. So maybe it had disappeared, but then if something disappeared so easily, it is not common knowledge, and it cannot be that important anyway. Like you said, other people have to know as well.
Yeah, exactly. Not just one.
It has not just one. No. Well, yeah.
Yeah. What in modern anthropology, within the circles of anthropologists now, is it generally viewed that this journal reference to Sirius B and the dog star is now, within anthropology, has this been fully accepted as being false, or is there still a contentious argument within anthropology?
That's a very good question. The point is, I published my refutation in 91. Mm-hmm. And actually, that was rather late, because I liked Dieter very much. She was a grand old lady, and I said, well, I'm going to destroy her life work. And what is a nice way to destroy someone's life work? There isn't. So I was hesitating a little bit. And then came another debate in anthropology between Margaret Mead and Freeman, in which Freeman corrected Margaret Mead, but he did it after her death. And he was severely criticized for that. And then I said, okay, she is, what was she at the time? 87. I have to publish it. Yeah. And so what I did is I chose a journal, Current Anthropology, one of our main journals, and which has also a format in which people can respond. It's a debate after the article, which is very nice. And I wrote my article, and I translated it in French, and sent the text to Dieter and traveled to Paris in order to discuss this with her. I know her English was not very good, so that's why I took the made the effort of translating it. And she really appreciated this. I went to her home. She was a grande dame, a grand old lady living in a beautiful apartment in Paris, full of old furniture, Louis XVI, Louis XV, very much wonderful. And I was a little bit concerned what she would say. Actually, the only thing she said was, pourquoi le publier? Why publish it? That was clear enough, and it still is clear enough. And we had a nice conversation for the rest, because we know, of course, we had a lot of joint acquaintances and etc. So, and I offered her the chance to give a comment. She said, no, I will not write a comment. And so that settled it for me. That she knew what has been going on. And she already complained earlier to me in the field when we met several times in Sangha, that she could not find anyone anymore who knew the creation myth.
Yeah.
After Marcel was gone, had died, he died in 56, nobody knew anything anymore about creation myth. And so that and she knew what went, that something went completely wrong. I published my article, and the general reaction of anthropology was, that's exactly what we thought.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we thought, of course. thanks for mentioning it, but nothing new actually. So it was a relief for anthropology that they could that this anomaly has been solved. What
Okay.
remained, what remained a little bit was the question of Sirius. I addressed that in my article because that knowledge has to come from somewhere. When I delved into the history of Marcel Griot himself, I found out that he had been a pilot in the Second World War and was very much interested in astronomy.
Right.
And like I give in my article, I can send you a copy of that. What I said, like in my article, I said what happened was very simple, that he had information. He came with star charts to the Dogon. He didn't go into the night sky and say, well, what stars do you know? He worked the other way around. He worked with star charts and information on star charts. And that information contained the information about Sirius B, etc. And he knew it anyway. So what he got in a sense, the Dogon mirrored the information he inadvertently or advertently gave to them, put it in Dogon words, and they put it not in as a star with a double star, but as a star, father, son, and grandson in their own lingo. And he translated that back as a double star system.
As an anthropologist, how easy is it to bring your own cultural influences into another culture and I'm trying to think of the correct word. Is contaminate or muddy the water of their own cosmology, or even become incorporated within that? Like how risky is that within anthropology?
It's the one risk we are always very wary of. You're completely right, because you are there, you are your own culture, you change your environment. The fact that you are, we call it the piezo effect in anthropology.
Right.
You are there and you inevitably change it. So that's the point. The whole method in anthropology are geared to minimizing that influence.
Right.
And one thing that I was very careful with, because of this whole history, was don't ask too many questions. Where they will answer the question, whatever the question is.
To be polite.
It's a culture with what they call a culture, courtesy bias. You will have an answer to your question, and it will be the answer that they think is favorable for you. Well, they want their answer to be welcome. And anyway, so that's an important thing. So we have to be very careful, very gradual, and ask only questions about things that happen or things they say out of themselves. And then you can come in. And he did it exactly the wrong way. I could ask what stars they know, etc. They know Sirius, but they have a different name for it. Of course, they know Sirius. It's the brightest star in the sky. But they had a different name for it. And so he got back his own information in Dogon terms. And that is what went wrong with Sirius. And that's it's also not, so that's, in fact, it's a simple problem of let's say, it's a quite elementary mistake in method he made.
It's like cross-contamination.
Yeah. Or self-referential.
He murdered his own field,
Yeah.
He got back his own information. And he should have recognized that also, but he should have recognized also things from the creation myth, because the people had to come up with a whole new creation myth. And if you look at that second one, the cosmic one, you see that there is a lot of elements which are not so unknown to Europeans.
Mhm.
One of that, there is an ark with 4 peoples coming down from heaven. There is a God who sacrifices himself to redeem humanity.
Hmm.
He should have recognized that. Of course, that's Christian, and and that God is resurrected. That is not easy. And I spoke about that with Dieter Lange. She was a Protestant, and she knew her Bible, and she said, yes, we should have recognized that. This was, of course, and at the time that the Grill was there in the 50s, the mission was already there. There was a Protestant mission and a Catholic mission in Dogon, and of course the Muslims who have the same creation myth, only without the sacrificing God, were there already for a long time.
I love the fact you can be friends and socialize and then professionally have a disagreement, but that's professionally, but it doesn't take away. You're not. It seems to be in modern life, modern culture, modern civilization. If you have a disagreement, you must immediately despise the person. But this wasn't the case with you with Griol. This was we're
not
good
at all.
friends, but professionally we disagree here because of the evidence and from I guess the science basis of anthropology.
I have a deep respect for her.
Yeah.
I have a respect for Marcel Griot, who did put the Dogon on the map.
The
ethnographic map. And in the end, I end my main article in Current Anthropology with the notion that this is not a document Dogon. This is not a document. It's a human document, a document humain. It's a fiction which has resulted from a very creative intercultural interaction. It's a beautiful story which should be valued in itself, not as an ethnographic document, but as a literary production, an intercultural literary production. And that's what she liked that very much. And we parted on very good terms. No problem there.
Yeah.
The point is, if you put on 7A.
Yeah, I have a quick question about changing of ritualistic rituals over time. Do these things are handed down generation to generation to generation to generation? Like, for example, the English language has changed since Shakespeare's time. Over the centuries, does ritual behavior change, and has it changed in your lifetime within the Dogon tribe?
A very good question. The answer is yes. Rituals change. They change by some accidents. People are not there and they do it differently or whatever. They change. And it's a very good question actually for the Dogon, because their rituals are far apart. 12 years is a long time. And they have one ritual which is done every 60 years. And then you have to have a very good memory in order to know how it should be done. It is not written. And so it will be done differently in some details anyway, whatever. So, but the point is that in these local religions, the discourse is, we do it like the ancestors did. It comes from the ancestors. It's the thing of the ancestors. We follow the ancestors. This is what the ancestors do, and we keep doing it. Depuis les ancêtres, since the ancestors. That is not a description of how it is done. That's a description where the authority of the ritual come from.
From the spirit.
But even if it's changed, and I've seen that many times, that ritual was changed, and I said, yeah, well, you changed it. And they said, this is now our tradition. Traditions do change it. Often in details, because it still is more or less the same ritual, it has the same name, etc. But the moment you change, it becomes tradition. That is what tradition is. It is a stamp of authenticity, independent of what is the content. Actually, the content.
I think that's
so that's a very important thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
I have seen things change. Yeah, and of course, for me, the fact that, for instance, Marcel Griot wrote a book about masks in 1938 is for me extremely important, because it's the same mask ritual, but it's not the same mask ritual. There are changes there, and those changes are important. But the ritual is still there.
What in our you know, stepping back a bit, in our topical study of UFO, UAP, alien, NHI, these kind of things, how relevant is it to us looking at a historical context from an anthropological, folklore, mythology, cosmology point of view? How important is it to realize that these things change over time?
I think you answered your own question. It's extremely important.
It's more of a statement.
Only because because it is, of course, a discourse which develops. It's a culture which develops, and as such, it's a culture which is worthy of serious and deep study. And whatever the reality of UAPs or UFOs, and the people who study it are human people who are very interesting and who are intelligent and who are creating a reality which is for them important. That's exactly what the Dogon do. They're creating a reality which is meaningful, which is significant, and it gives a deep significance to life. But I want to show you some pictures more. This is the old man just drumming for the masks, and the man at the right is the one who speaks the ritual invocations, the Orubaru, the speaker from the bush. And he speaks in a ritual language called Sigiso, the mask language, which is a derivative of Dogon, but it's another language. And so the things from the bush, the other world, has to be addressed in a separate language, a sacred language. And so this is sacralizing your own way of life, your own embedment in your own historical environment. 7A, I want to have.
Yep, that's 7A right here.
Number 7.
This is 7A. Oh, sorry. 5.
5.
Yeah. I presented some of the findings of Griot to my own informants because I had to check whether I really couldn't find it. And here, and actually we filmed this one, but the two at the back are the one with the bandana is the interpreter. The other 3 are elders. The one at the left is my host. The other 2 are ritual elders. And we spoke with them about the things which had been coming out of Sangha. They call that Griot found. And this was my final, say, test of I could find anything. Because here you muddy the waters, of course, to some extent. And it was very clearly how they reacted. They reacted first astonished.
Yeah.
And they are very polite people. And if some old man in Sangha had told that to Griot, they said, okay, maybe he knows. And of course, he's an old man, he can know. And then out came the thing of Sirius, etc., and the creation. And then they changed their tone. They said, are people from Sangha, that's the other village, telling that, how can they know? How can they, as important questions here, how can they know how the creation was? Were they there, present, when the earth was created?
Yeah.
Were they there? The answer is no, they were not there. We were not there, they were not there. There's no way they can know. And for some, so that's very clear that they said it's not in the TEM. And the TEM for them is the tradition and what is handed over. It's the lore of the tribe, and that's a very clear notion for them. This is not in the Tem. This is what we never heard it.
Okay.
And this was my final approval from them, or my final closing argument that the inventions of Griot were the inventions of Griot, and that they didn't recognize them. And they became a little bit angry sometimes. At other times, they were very amused of the strange thing they heard. And so that's what they what they did.
Okay.
I'm curious. I'm curious within the village structure of the families, with these gentlemen who are the ritual kind of tradition keepers of
Yeah.
said things. And this discussion, this image is beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that, if I can use the term law keeping, is that tradition keeping assigned to certain individuals based on status, or is this age, or is this just is everybody a law keeper within the structure?
Law keepers is the whole community, but
Right.
led by the elders. Age is important in Dogon country. So being older is being wiser, is being stronger, etc. Both are at the back are the oldest of their clan elders, and they are the ones I worked with them a lot. I knew them very, very well, and they have been my principal informants. And they're also great singers. And I told you about a song of the Dogon, and they are two of the main singers of that song. Anyway, they are the recognized, respected elders who know the tradition. They have also they take care of the clan altars. They speak the words, the public words in the public festivals. They are the ones people listen to. It's a very harmonious and harmony-oriented society where you respect your elders and grant them great wisdom. And actually, the older I get, the more I feel that is a good idea.
So how are disagreements then settled inside the Dogon tribes if they have a disagreement?
Disagreements are settled by getting together and speaking long, speaking well, listening to each other, just giving the other time to speak. And in the end, you make an apology. You render an apology if you're wrong. And that's enough.
Okay.
That is enough.
Concerning the animism kind of belief structure of the spirituality of the Dogon people, if you transgress, I mean, it's in Western culture we have the book of law, right? We all know if we upset the police, but this is like spiritual police on top of regular police, right? So there's kind of two types. So how is that in part? Is it just something day to day the babies grow up in this environment, and they already at a young age know to say this, do this, to drop the beer on the floor, like you said earlier, to give thanks, and these make offerings at the altar? Is this just already known knowledge, or is this
generationally based
on the traditions and so on?
The basics are not that complicated and are taught quite quickly. People speak easily about spirits, speak easily about Amma. Benedictions of Amma will bless you, etc., are spoken daily, very, very daily. They live very closely to these gods and at least constantly refer to them. But the point is that if you fall ill, for instance, there has to be a reason for that. And one of the reasons for falling ill is being out of harmony with your god, with the altar, with the spirits, etc. And you can have a divination, a soothsayer who looks at actually the fox. I don't have pictures of that, but anyway, and who can tell you what is wrong, and then you have to make a sacrifice. You make an offering. You have to make some amends with the other world, with the spiritual worlds, and then it is okay. In principle, problems are solvable. It's not a question of this is a religion, not of say getting a good position in the afterlife, but in leading a healthy and fruitful and social life here on earth. And religion is geared to this world more than the other world. And the other world is interesting insofar as it impinges on this very world. And that is, in fact, what is the core of animism. You have to live with your religion in order to live here. It is not so that you have to live here well to have to come to heaven. No, you have to live here because this is the world which we know, and the world we do not know, we do not know. They're quite serious about what they do not know, and so we have to live well here and now.
Okay.
And for me, that's always been a major inspiration of this religion. That's one of my inspirations of my whole field of traditional religion. You have to do it together. This is a harsh environment. You have to work together. You have to live together, and you have to live together with the spirits, with the gods, and be in harmony with each other. And it's always possible to fall out of harmony, but you can always make amends.
So that leads, that's you can always make amends, and if you become ill, there's a reason for it, and you can call upon spirits to kind of help situations or find things in your environment to cure the individual, which leads on to my next question, Professor Van Beek, is what impact is modern civilization having on the Dogon peoples, and how are they integrating outside influence on them?
This is a remote area,
Yeah.
difficult to reach, where you can live only in the way they have been doing that since ages. There's no modern agriculture possible, so they have to live there. But a lot of the impact is that the youngsters, since the beginning of the 19th century, go out to the big cities, Bamako, Abidjan also in Ivory Coast, work there, gather some money, send money home, and come home with money and goods. And then they settle, marry, and have children, etc. So there's a constant flow of youngsters going abroad, sending remittances to the falaise, and then coming back. Some are not coming back, and right now, of course, there are a lot of Dogon who have settled in the village, in the cities, and they even have colonized parts of Mali, which has been uninhabited because the Mali government realized that people who could live in this environment could productively make agriculture in any environment, and that's what they are doing. And they're known in West Africa as hard workers. Well, they have to be, otherwise you die. So they have a good reputation as hard workers. And of course, they also have their mission, and Christian mission has come in, and Islam has come in. So gradually, this religion is giving way to Christian churches and to Muslims, but it's still very much there. This picture is from 2012, not that long ago.
Do you feel that that's a threat to them in some way?
Yeah, but a lot of Dogon now live in the big cities. They are very eager to have education. We helped in establishing a school in Tiroli, because even if that impinges on our field of study, it's so important for them that they really like that. So, and a lot of them have been studying, and there is now in Dogon area, also in Bamako, a cultural association called Gina Dogon, this big house Dogon, the clan house of the Dogon, which aims at preserving Dogon culture.
Good.
They are very much aware that they have a special culture. They are very much aware of, well, their being quite special, not as special as Griot thought, but anyway, quite special. And they have a great cultural pride. They have pride in their own culture, which I like, of course, because I like this culture very much.
Yeah.
And people should have pride in their own culture. That's very healthy, psychologically healthy. So yes, the present Ministry of Culture is a Dogon, and there are many more of them like that. And the last book I wrote in French has a foreword from him, in which he compares me with Griot, with Marcel Griot, which is rather nice. I had no problem with that. Even if he went astray in the end, he did give a lot of credit to the Dogon, and I'd like to be in his footsteps there. So the Dogon are integrating in modern society, but still retaining their own cultural self-confidence, their own cultural worth, and value their own culture. They have, for instance, a yearly cultural festival of Dogon culture in Bamako, in the main capital, and where old people come dressed and dance with their masks, etc., and share out. So this is a culture which, say, withstands the onslaught of modernization reasonably well.
Keeping. I think a preservation of cultural pride is
a colleague of mine compared them with the Japanese.
Oh.
Well, I saw the hats earlier, and part of me is thinking this looks very, Seven Samurai-esque.
Yeah, and they had it's quite a spectacular culture. Maybe you can put on number 10.
Number 10. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, there are two funerals. The first funeral where you dispose of the body, and the second funeral where you dance with masks. In the first funeral, the arrival of death, the fact that death has entered the village, is proclaimed by this figure, who is a mask. It's a mask with a head coverage with cowrie shells and a spear and a calabash. Okay. He doesn't say anything. He is completely silent. He goes to all the holy places in the village, all the places where people dance and sacrifice, and just taps with his calabash on that particular village, on that particular spot, and leaves the village again. And from that moment on, everybody knows that this is death has arrived, and there will be a funeral. Well, this is not only spectacle, it's also highly spiritual, and it's very impressive. And they have retained it also among Christians in this way, because this is a wonderful way to announce death, and it's part and parcel of Dogon culture. So that is, this is a culture which is very aware of itself. Beautiful. It's a little bit a shame that I think that they are, in some circles, still renowned for things that are not part of their culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is a culture which can't stand on its own feet.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit a shame there. But and I told Ditolin of that particular ancient astronaut connection, and she didn't like it at all. She said they will know from themselves, but that's not the case anyway. But it's a wonderful culture which is thriving, which is doing well, and which I'm quite proud to contribute to its own feeling, etc.
And also as a member of as well.
Yeah. So no serious B in Dogon. Okay. Sorry. No creation myth, but a wonderful culture in its own.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
cosmology of the immediate environment. It's there.
Yeah.
They know stars, but they're not very important for them. For instance, well, I think that most viewers can know that Sirius is very close to Orion.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, and it's more or less in the direction how I say the Orion's belt.
Yeah.
These three stars point towards Sirius.
Yeah.
More or less, and they see Sirius as the hunter star and the belt as his three dogs he hunts with.
Just from
That
my
is
own
their
memory, just my own memory, you said that the Dogon peoples, there was a precursor tribal, a prototype tribal group. What were they called again? Sorry,
Telem.
Telem. Is that Telem?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
And which means actually we found them.
It means we found them. Wow.
Really?
Yeah, we found them. Huh? Yeah.
Huh.
And they did find them. That's no
Okay.
problem.
I think I think I heard on whispers, rumors on the internet that the Telem maybe came from Egypt. Is that correct? And it is
Yeah.
It may be correct that people whisper that, but it's not correct that they came from
not
Egypt.
correct at all. I see what I mean. This is one of my points, is that, you know, a paragraph from an individual in a book written a long time ago with no real points of reference is picked up as being fact, and then expounded and worked upon to then put your position as being a factual position. And whilst there is a reference and a citation, the source of that of the citation is very important.
Yeah.
And that as a almost like a scientific protocol for, you know, the viewers UAP UFO investigation is important. If you're relying on your sources of information being factually correct, you really need to tunnel into those things.
Yeah, the point is that it's easy to make weird notions about people who are far away. But the point is, you have to ground your opinions in the real scholarship, and the scholarship is there. So those fantastic tales are easy to think and easy to transmit and difficult to forget. They're memes. They're more or less, if you don't care, they're a little bit cognitive viruses.
You
have to be careful for that, and especially if the information is very welcome, etc. And there was, for instance, an early anthropologist in Senegal who thought that most African cultures stemmed from Egypt. Well, that has been important. It has been ambit researched, and it's false. It's not the case. The point is that Africa has in itself the oldest population in the world. That is clear. We all stem from Africa. We all are basically Africans. A little bit bleached
over time,
but we are all Africans. So there's no way to sensationalize Africa, because that's what's being done. And if things are sensationalized, you should study them in depth, more deeply and more thoroughly, and then the sensation disappears. What remains, and that's my whole point, is a wonderful civilization. It's a wonderful culture, which has fascination in itself, which is very attractive and captivating and even spectacular. It doesn't need any extraterrestrial links or Egyptians, deep Egyptian roots. It has dignity in its own.
Yeah.
Can we move to picture 9, sir? Walter? I love that picture. I like this one.
There's also a mask festival, the same. It's in 2005, yeah, where you see here several types of masks. A mask is a complete apparition. Um, Africans call a mask the whole figure with costume, headdress, etc. That's a mask. What we call a mask only the headdress, but that's for them not a complete mask at all. It is the whole thing. You have to be unrecognizable. You have to dance. You have to dance well, and you represent an animal. It's quite clear here. The one on the left is an antelope. But you have to see that it's more the spirit of an antelope. It's a very spiritual thing. In the middle, you have a hare. And they're usually young boys who dance them. And at the right, also another hare. So what you see here is the bush. Animals from the bush. Of course, the virtualized spiritual animal from the bush who replenish the village with their force, their vital force, their energy, and their fertility also. And on the background, you see people watching. Those people are all men. The women are farther away because they are masks are dangerous for the fertility of women. That's Pan-African. That's always the same. So this is part of their own, say, worldview, their own local cosmology. The reason for the mass in the end is to make the village fertile again, fertile in crops, but especially fertile in people. These are pronatal societies who like, well, of course, having children is important. And they are replenishing the battery again. And the battery is mainly in order to have children, progeny. The society should continue, should go on, should be permanent.
We're continuing the village. We're continuing the tribe. Yes.
Yeah, that's what they try to do here. That's what they're doing here, actually. Yeah. Because of course this is a large happening. And you have to take account of the fact that in this particular festival, there were 60 masks, all dancing there. This is just a fraction of them. And it's a huge festival. It has been, of course, a festival which was long overdue at the time. But anyway, if you have a cultural focus like that, it is easy to have your own, to be permanent. It helps to remain on your toes in your own culture. This is what people like to see and like to do. And you can imagine, these are all young men, whatever they're all young men. And they have to perform well, but also they have to perform a little bit better than the other. They're still very human.
Healthy rival competition. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially, of course, the girls are watching.
Yeah. So
the girls are watching.
With the spiritual representation of the animal through the mask, when you don this, you put this on, and you're dancing well in, with the timing, with the music and expression. Is there a like a divine connection? Is there the spirit of the animal comes over the individuals and they or is it just
sometimes?
Okay.
Usually not. The dances are more or less standard, and there's general dances for all masks, and there are specific dancers per animal. But some of the dancers mask may invite spirits to take possession. There's the mask, not on this slide, of the shaman. There are shamans. And if you dance as shaman mask, you will become a shaman during the dance. You will be invaded by a spirit during the dance, and it will show in the dance. It should show in the dance. So the spirit world is never far away. The main thing is the main notion is not spirit here, but power. Power from the bush, power from the other world, power from the the fertility of the bush, the wisdom of the bush. It is rendering power into the village, empowering the village.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
How often is you say this is this particular event that you witnessed in a small snapshot of a much larger celebration?
It's a huge celebration. It takes a whole month.
So
It's
a
in
month
principle
long.
is every 12 years.
Okay.
But they missed one, and I have been waiting for this particular one in my own village for 30 years.
Wow.
There were some postponement, there were some problems, there were illness, there was a famine, etc. So this particular mask festival was long overdue,
Mm.
and I had been waiting it for 30 years already. So when I was here, this was one of the high points
Yeah,
of my life.
to be a part of that and be a
I
tribal
bet.
member as well, and like kind of family member, and it must have the feelings you had of empowerment must have been crazy.
Oh, yeah, this was extremely important, and I'm also initiated into the mask. I was I have made masks. I did not dance here because I was already initiated, but I was very much involved with the whole proceeding.
Wow.
Awesome.
So,
Wow. So,
yeah, this is the heart of an anthropologist.
oh my gosh, yes, you lived with them.
I feel like maybe I need to go back to school, and you've inspired me greatly today, Professor.
The message is to all viewers: become an anthropologist.
Yeah, well, it's just a fascinating world we live in, and trying to understand more about kind of cultures and civilizations and tribal aspects to our species,
Yeah, with
We're
this,
one species. Well, the whole point of my debunking of Griot is that the Dogon are normal people.
Yeah.
They are just like us, and we are just like them. There's no, and the knowledge we have is a knowledge which we gather together and we use in order to live together in freedom and in creative expression.
Yeah.
And our world is much richer than we can ever imagine. And also our cultural world as Earth is much richer than we ever imagined.
Can we move to number 11, sir? Since you were
Yes, of
talking
course.
about the culture and everything, I wanted to talk about their
Statues.
the statues and the things they make.
Okay. Yeah. The Dogon are famous for their art. They're not the only ethnic group in Africa making art, but everybody has his own style, and this is a typical Dogon couple, and it's a nice example of the stories Griot told and the stories which were correct.
Okay.
For instance, for Griot, this was a rendition of the original couple which created the world, which was the first couple of humanity, say Adam and Eve. And he called them Adam and Eve without recognizing that that was extremely biblical.
Yeah.
But for them, this is the original couple of the Dogon ancestry. Well, since the Dogon do not know anything about original couples or creation myth, it cannot be the case. So I had to look, what does it mean? It's a little bit more mundane, I'm afraid. What it means is, if you look well, you see a man to the right and a woman to the left, and the man has his left arm over the shoulder of the woman, and the hand nearing her breast. This is a statue of a man, a young man who wants to find a woman. He wants to have a mate. He wants to have a woman to make a family with. So what he does with the statue is not representing an ancestor, but he puts the statue near his family altar, the cone-shaped thing on which they are. And this, dear Amma, this is what I want. This is how I like to be. This is what I aim in my life.
A physical,
I want to be a family man.
a physical representation of the thought form that he wants to manifest in his future.
Yeah. It's a wishful, and of course, Amma needs to be reminded often again. And you cannot stay yourself at the altar all the time. But a couple of the statue can and will remind Amma of your wish and your intention. So that is the couple, and yeah, that's a different story, but it's very human. And it's a story we can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have, of course, yeah.
We use the word altar. Some people may be familiar with Christian altars or pedestals or areas of worship. Well, could you describe loosely what one of the, let's say, a household family altar looks like? Is it raised?
It's about a foot-high cone of mud.
Okay.
Nothing else, with a little hook, an iron hook in it.
Okay.
That's it. There's a stone inside. They make an earthen cone, put a hook in it, and that's the altar. It has its own rituals to do so, of course, because it will be a sacred thing, and but it can be. It's standing in a corner of the house, of the compound. Because you have huts, and some huts together is a compound, and in one corner of the compound you have the altar, and that's it. And it's sacrificed on with chicken, with food. It's a place where you eat with the gods.
Okay,
that's the point of an altar. You sacrifice a chicken, say, and put all this food stuff you have cooked a little bit on the altar, and then the family eats together in communion with the gods. Okay. And then you can, of course, put your own wishes for the family here at the altar. And this is one of the wishes.
If you wish to attract
yeah. So it's very intimate. It's an intimate relation with the other world.
Huh. That's awesome.
And, yeah.
You don't get a lot of that anymore, because now it's like, not a lot of people go outside anymore, basically. They're all inside. They're inside their houses. They don't go out into the forest and explore. They live there. They live there on the land that they have for so many centuries. And I think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is very beautiful.
So far, I've learned a great deal more about animism in relationship with harmony with the environment. I think if there's one takeaway here, it's to really consider how we could, as a species on the planet, live more in harmony with our environment, and really think about the impact that we have on it.
And there is always this kind of sacredness in the environment, which we should respect, and that's a lesson we can well learn from them.
I say 100% on that, sir. Do you want to move to number 12 then, picture?
Yeah, let's put the last one on too. That's a special one. I called, that is a crocodile woman.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
It's a crocodile woman. It's called a Nomo.
Nomo.
This is the water god. This is the female partner of the water god. And you don't adore the water god as such, but it's a very dry environment, and water is important, is crucial, is rare. And at spots where water is, you can say, if water becomes scarce, if you have a problem with lack of water, there's some places where water is permanent, and then you put such a thing in and say, okay, we normal, we come to you and ask for water, for rain and for water in our ponds. And that's where you put this part of statue in.
Okay.
For yeah, so this is the story which goes here, because for Griot, Nomo was the part of the creation, was actually one of the creators. So also on this particular statue, my tale, the tale of the Dogon themselves, is completely different from that of Griot, and that's why I put this in the selection. This is a tale of what you say, intimacy with the environment, of living with the environment. And you have always to have respect for water sources. You have to keep them clean. You have to approach them barefooted, because shoes will soil the access to water, etc. Water is scarce, important, and yeah,
It's a
demands
beautiful
respect. We should respect our water.
Yeah. Yeah. It's life.
And just to give the audience where in Africa, they're from. This is the section.
Can I put it here? Do you see that? No. It's where Mali is on its narrowest, where it's like a Diabolo, in the narrow part, on the southeastern part, on the border with Burkina Faso. There are the Dogon.
Okay.
I can bring up a map here.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping that I got the right book.
Yeah, that's the right book. I wrote that with Stephanie Holliman. It's the beauty of a book, thanks to her pictures. I wrote the text and she made the pictures. And
yeah,
you see here,
that's why I brought this up, because you wrote in this and she had the pictures.
Yeah, it was a nice book, a nice thing to do. She's a very good photographer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was extremely impressed with everything, sir. Mr. Van Beek, Van Beek.
Beek.
Van Beek. Yeah. No
I'm
problem.
gonna get it. There's so many, but it's better. The coming from where you were out there, you waited a long time to see all these things for your own eyes and bring them to people. And I'm glad that we were able to share your story on here and share what you saw with your own eyes. It's not every day that you can speak to someone that lived amongst the tribe.
Yeah, that's my privilege.
Well, George, did you want to say anything, George? And then I'll give it to Walter for the end.
Thank you very much, and many blessings to you, and many more blessings to you for doing the work that you've done. And today has been, for me, really insightful. I think, the bullet point of the relationship with Sirius B, the way you explained it so eloquently was very informative for us and our channel. But outside of that, understanding more about the spirit culture, animist culture, work, kind of celebration and color and dance and singing and being human. I think that was the thing. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure doing this.
And also, I missed a trick. I should have been an anthropologist, I think. So, sorry, my screen's a bit blurry, which is probably a good thing.
I'll give it up to I'll remove both of us from the screen. I'll give it up to you for the end.
Okay, have a good time, and Ama Ubara, a Dogon blessing and benediction. Ama Ubara.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day, evening, where you are, and anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome. I'd love to have you back on. And it's just about sharing that knowledge that you have, that is so important for people to hear and take in. And I'm glad that, you know, I'm glad that you came on the podcast to tell your story, sir. Thank you.
Very grateful for your time, Professor. Thank you.
Have a nice experience. Have a good time.
Okay. Take care now.